Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight we are live. Welcome to Friday. The topic tonight, we are going to rank our top 10 tracks from the band Three Dog Night. Eric Hansen's here, Todd Evans is here. Without any further ado, let's get started.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Friday, and we are live. Normally we aren't here on Fridays doing a live show, but you know, it's just one of those days, and I want to welcome the panel. Eric Hansen, of course, Todd Evans, and tonight you are all here because we all know what we're going to talk about. We're going to do our top 10 tracks from Three Dog Night, and they shouldn't need any kind of introduction, but maybe the kids out there might not know who they were. So they were basically a American rock band formed 1967. Brian Wilson did some tracks for him. They were going to go record an album under the name Redwood, but Brian got wet back into the Beach Boys, so they only produced like 3 songs, but these guys kept going. They changed their name to Three Dog Night. They got a band, and I mean, they had 21 consecutive top 40 hits between 69 and 75. Joy to the World, Mama Told Me Not to Come, Black and White, whole bunch. A lot of these tracks will probably make an appearance here tonight. And rumor has it there might be some deep tracks here as well. So, as always, this isn't a Dark Horse episode. This is just a ranking, a top 10 ranking. I don't know if I've ever really done a top 10 show live. Not like this. Anyway, let's have some fun. I want to hear from everybody in the comment section. If you like Three Dog Night, if you don't, maybe you'll learn something. The whole goal here is to turn you onto the band. Maybe reach out, check it out if you haven't. Because, you know, these guys were big. I'm speaking for myself. I bet I can speak for everybody else in the panel, but when I was a kid on AM radio, you couldn't escape this stuff. These guys were huge. In fact, we used to sing a lot of these songs like in like music class in like first, third grade and stuff like that. So these songs are ingrained in my DNA. So anyway, I want to welcome the panel. Like I said, we've got Eric, we got Todd, myself. We're going to go 2-2. We're just going to keep it go around, keep it loose. Let's see what's happening in the chat real quick before we get started. Look at this. It's Paul Simon. Paul, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm already tuned on to Three Dog Night. Okay, well, good. That's what we want. Steve Polari, Three Dog Night was indeed massive in the early 70s, all over my clock radio. Yep. Try a little tender circle for a landing. All right. So anyway, let's do it. Annie T. Grant did his homework. Well, I try to prepare.
Annie says this is one of her favorite bands.
She's mentioned that before. This is like right up there. So she's ready. So I appreciate everybody doing. Let's get started. I'm going to start out the way I see it. Let's go Eric, Todd, myself, and we'll just go 2, and 2. And let's just have some fun. All right, gentlemen. Eric, take it away. What's your first 2?
All right. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Grant? You mentioned 21 top 100 records. Wow.
Well, when I was prepping for this, I mean, holy crap, there's just like, it's just the hits keep on coming, you know?
Absolutely. So my number 10, to start off, I am going to go 1971. This is off their album Harmony. The Family of Man. Written by Paul Williams, who has written for Barbra Streisand, The Carpenters, Anne Murray, Chris Christopherson, who we just lost, and Jack Conrad. Jack Conrad was actually the bass player post Jim Morrison when the Doors did like a little reunion thing. He also written songs for the Babies and Dave Mason. This song here, number 12 on the Billboard 100. Went to number 5 in Canada. Danny Hutton. You got Danny Hutton, Chuck Negron, and Corey Wells. They're the 3 main singers. Danny did the first verse on this, and then Chuck on the second. This is a cool little uplifting track that blends that 60s type of vocals that you would hear from like the Fifth Dimension or Cornelius Brothers and Sister Rose. It just gives you that little Three Dog Night flavor in there, and a great drum shuffle by their drummer on this, Floyd Sneed. Family Man, number 10.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Number 9, going to go with 1974's Sure As I'm Sitting Here. This is off their album Hard Labor, written by John Hyatt. He was a folk rock artist. He originally had this song on his album, I think from earlier in that year. This went number 16, Billboard, number 18 on Canada. Lead vocal here by Corey Wells. The beginning of this song always reminds me of something that the band or the group Friends of Distinction would have done. The band that sang Grazing in the Grass and Love or Let Me Be Lonely. It's a song about observation and reflection. I love Corey Wells' vocals on this, as I think it fits the rhythm of the song. Strong song. And I don't know if you guys are going to touch on this. About 2 minutes and 50 seconds of the song, there's actually a toilet flush. Because I think the way it was written is like from you're sitting on the toilet and observing things.
It's not like Love Roller Coaster from Ohio Players. You know that story, right? That folklore from back in the day, that there's a scream. You can hear a scream on Love Roller Coaster by the Ohio Players. And the whole legend was that someone got murdered in the studio next door and it came across into the other studio. That's what we used to say as kids.
Eric, I didn't remember that, but now that you mention it, that seems familiar. I think at one point I was familiar with the fact that
I was listening to it again, and I'm like, I'm like, holy cow, it's in there. But you're into the song, but Sure As I'm Sitting Here, that's my number 9.
Yeah, that movie Phantom of Paradise with Paul Williams is an odd flick. Jiminy Christmas. It's kind of disturbing. I don't know. All right, cool. Thank you, Eric. Excellent choices. You had one of my choices, but I ranked it a little bit higher. All right, Todd, you are up.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with Three Dog Night. Three Dog Night was my first rock band, unless you count the Partridge Family, which people usually don't. But I started listening to Three Dog Night when I was in the 3rd grade, and I remember I bought this 45, and this is the song I'm going to pick as my number 10, "Pieces of April" from Seven Separate Fools. And I remember the second Three Dog Night album I bought with my allowance was Live at the Forum. I remember my parents picking it up and looking at it and going, should he be listening to this? But
that rock and roll.
Yeah. but anyway, I wanted to talk about Pieces of April, written by Dave Loggins and sung by Chuck. And apparently the other 2 vocalists, Danny and Corey, left. They recorded this in London, and they left London early, leaving Chuck behind. And so this is one of the only songs that Chuck sings, and nobody sings backup with him. At least Corey and Danny don't. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Something I didn't know until recently. And Pieces of April is a really beautiful song, really quiet, really, really atmospheric guitar part by Michael Alsop, and a beautiful bridge and a great guitar solo. I love this song. It was left off of Joy to the World Greatest Hits, which I think came out in 1975. And it actually, if you look that up on Wikipedia, it actually says, when it's talking about that album, it says, for some unknown reason, they left off Pieces of April. It got to, let me see if I can find, let's see, it was a follow-up to Black and White, which hit number 1. Pieces of April had peaked at number 19. Yeah. So that's my number 10. And my number 9 is "Let Me Serenade You" from the 1973 album Cyan. And I thought that I was going to pick a whole bunch of songs from Cyan, or at least more than one, and I didn't. This is the only one I picked. But I always think of Cyan as kind of an underrated record, and I feel like it's one of the only records where they actually, I think Michael Alsop writes 2 songs, which I think is the most they've ever written on it, because they generally recorded other people's songs. And it's a surprisingly enjoyable record to listen to, and it's not one that people talk about much. But Let Me Serenade You is great. Great kind of bluesy, gruff kind of vocal by Corey Wells. And it's always been a favorite, very melodic. So from this album, I wanted to pick something, and so I definitely decided to pick Let Me Serenade You.
Holy crap, this is going to be wild.
Yeah. That just missed my list.
Yeah, it actually got to number 17 on the chart.
Yeah, SCHNEE would have been good. His daughter's in town this weekend, so. Turtles, yeah. I see we have a fan of Phantom of Paradise. I'm a huge fan of that movie. Oh, goodness. Guys, crazy. Hey, Ernesto's here. Hey, Ernesto. Nice to see you. All right, let's keep it moving. Well, I think I might even be choosing something that's more obscure. Oh, once I can get it up here. Hold on. There's a lot of buttons tonight, so. Okay, my first pick, my number 10. Now, I really dig this. This is off the first album, and we're going to go off Three Dog Night. Now, I've been conflicted. When I was doing my research, I always thought that this record might have came out in 68. I'm not sure. I think it came out late 68, but I've seen some data say it came out in 69. I don't know. I'm going with 68. But this is a song that they do, like Todd and Eric mentioned, they do a lot of covers, and for the most part, and this is a great cover. This is wonderful. This is every bit as good as the original that Traffic did back in 1967. And I'm going to go with the song Heaven in Your Mind. So this was off the first album. You've got great, rich harmonies on here. Chuck, Danny, and Corey, they just all blend. It almost like a spiritual track. It's just they have the perfect vocal blend. And when you hear that vocal blend, you know who it is. But normally I wouldn't like, if you're going to attempt a Traffic song, boy, you better have it together. And these guys really do. And they make it their own. But the guitars on here really shimmer. I really like the production. It's almost, shall I say, psychedelic. It's got a wide stereo mix. I don't think this was ever mixed for mono, because 68, that'd be too late. They quit doing mono in 68. But Fuzzbox, Mike Alsop, the guitar player, is phenomenal. And we will see that probably in this episode, how great a guitar player that guy is. And their band is just really wonderful. And I'd like it. This probably won't be anybody else's top 10, but what the heck.
The live version of that from that Live at the Forum album, which I think is 68 or 69, is just absolutely 69. Stunning. I mean, it's so good that them recreating that vocal mix live is just really something.
Because that Live at the Forum, that's like their third record, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's
really early.
Really early to be 3 albums in and then producing a live record. I just find that odd, but hey, it is what it is. These guys took off right away. My number 9, I'm going to go with an album and a track off of Suitable for Framing from 1969. I'm going to go with Celebrate. You've got, oh my God. The thing, whenever I hear Danny Hutton sing, I always think, it always reminds me of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And I'm blanking on the name, but who's the guy
David Clayton Thomas?
He always reminds me of David Clayton Thomas for some reason, because he's very soulful, very bluesy to some degree. But this peaked at number 15 on the Billboard chart in 1970. This features the band Chicago on the horn section. Before, at the time, they were known as Chicago Transit Authority, but they're playing on here. It kind of reminds me of like a Sly and the Family Stone track. It shouldn't, but for some reason I keep thinking Sly Stone. I think this is a wonderful song. Yeah, I rated it at number 9. Everything has to appear somewhere. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, if I rated it, it might be number 4. But I think a lot of the stuff early in their career, these guys were on fire, and I think this is a wonderful song, and I just love the horns. I think it's a perfect track, even though there are more that I like better. All right, Eric, you are up. Oh, we got like a lot of comments. Oh my goodness. Well, Chuck Negron was one of the main singers. They all pretty much split it up. Celebrates a great song. Yeah.
That's a comment. A lot of people think that Chuck is the main guy.
Well, on a lot of the promo
You
pictures, they put
distinctive
Chuck
look
in the
to him.
middle.
Right in the middle. He's got the mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my number 8 here, I've got their debut album as 1969, Grant.
Okay.
So, and that's where the song is off of.
Discog said it came out like November 68 or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right. This one was written by Harry Nilsson. Of course, his popular song was "Everybody's Talking," and did he do "Coconut" too? "Coconut," I think, was the other one. But the song is "One." Now, his version, Harry Nilsson's version, is very melancholy, a little bit slower, where Three Dog Night puts a little bit of the pop rock and roll into it. This went number 5 on Billboard, number 17 in Canada. This is basically the song that kind of started it all for them and started them on their magical run of just hit after hit after hit. It's ear candy, and I would be surprised if, even if you may not know who the band is, anybody in the comments, you know this song. So, but One is my number 8. One.
Excellent.
My number 7, going off of their second record, Suitable for Framing, written by Galt McDermott, James Rado, Jerome Ragney, I think, for the Hair musical play. I'm going with Easy to Be Hard. So this one was actually sung by Chuck Negron. He did the lead vocals on. This went to number 4 on Billboard, number 2 in Canada. Just fantastic vocals by Chuck on this. I mean, he had such a soulful voice. Just fits the melody of this song. This one can rank higher. And in this tune, the power of the 3 vocal harmonies just can't be stopped. It's just a fantastic song. I love this one. This could easily, I almost put this one higher, but I said it earlier, ask me next week. This could be higher, but Easy to Be Hard, my number 7.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Todd Evans.
Okay, well, my number 8 is from the album Hard Labor, and it is the big single from this record, The Show Must Go On. Now, this song was, I can't tell you. Let's see. When this album came out, I was 11. I can't tell you how much I loved this song when I was 11 years old. It's written by Leo Sayer, and Leo Sayer is a really a pretty good songwriter, and you can tell a Leo Sayer song when you hear one, and he kind of gets kind of a bad reputation because he's got the big hair, and he's got that album where he's doing that big jump, and I think some people think of Leo Sayer as kind of a cheesy artist, but he was a good songwriter, and The Show Must Go On is great. And it has in it at the beginning and at the end, and actually kind of all the way through it, this military march from the 1800s called Entrance of the Gladiators, which is basically da 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 da, or the circus song or whatever. And one of the things that's so cool about it is at the end of the song, when it gets when the song's basically over and it goes back to that military march, it slows down and slows down and slows down till it just it's so slow that it just, and then there's like a footsteps and a door shutting, and because of that, I thought that was so cool that any song that I heard after that where it speeds up or slows down, I just thought was the coolest thing ever. So you can imagine I really loved Black Diamond by Kiss because it did that same thing. Yep. There's one of my favorite 90s bands is this band called Ocean Blue, and they have a song called Vanity Fair, and they have a song that speeds up at the end. And so anytime anybody does that, I always think I'm a sucker for that, because I was hooked by This Show Must Go On. But great vocal by Chuck, really just over the top kind of a vocal, and great song, number 8. And so my number 7, nobody is going to see this one coming, I don't think. But I knew I was going to pick a song from this album. The album is Coming Down Your Way, and from 1975. And I knew there was one that I was going to pick, which you'll find out later. But when I was listening to this album, I heard this song, and I just thought, man, this has got to make the list. And it's Midnight Flyer, Eli Wheeler. And that is a song that is written by Skip Conte, starting with the album that I just talked about, Hard Labor. Skip Conte was a keyboardist that they added to the band, so they had 2 keyboardists. And you know, we could, when I've talked about my intro to Three Dog Night when I was a kid, I probably should have mentioned that Jimmy Greenspoon is one of my absolute musical heroes. And a great Hammond player, one of the most distinctive Hammond players. I think he deserves to be up there with John Lord as far as a master of the Hammond organ. And so they added this other guy, Skip Conte, and Skip Conte was kind of a synth player, and he played the ARP and the Chamberlain and a whole Mellotron and a whole bunch of different things, kind of a Rick Wakeman-esque kind of a guy. And he wrote this song, Midnight Flyer, which is just this almost kind of a sci-fi, like prog rock kind of a song. And it's just so good. So sung by Danny. If anybody's not heard that song, it's just absolutely fantastic. And so that's my number 7, Midnight Flyer.
Okay, super. All right, my number, I gotta find it. My number, here we go. My number 8. I'm starting to copy Eric Hansen. I'm gonna go with Family of Man. Again, what you said, Paul Williams, Paul Conrad song. It was on the 1971 album Harmony. There it is. Great track, phenomenal. What more can I add than what Eric said? Again, I never get tired of this song. I think it's absolutely, I love all these. I might have to look into more Paul Williams stuff, because every time I'm looking at everything that I pick, it's like a Paul Williams song, and I'm going, holy crap, why don't I own any Paul Williams? Now, if we all know SCHNEE, who comes on our channel, he's got like the entire Paul Williams CD collection.
When I was a kid, Paul Williams was on like every variety show as a guest.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would like do comedy. He was like, it felt like every time you turned on the TV, you saw Paul Williams. I'm really dating myself now, because I mean, we're talking 73, 74, but
yeah, but he was big.
Did he ever make an appearance in Solid Gold?
I don't
probably.
Oh, that's pretty late. I don't know. He was like big in the mid 70s, early to mid 70s.
Yeah.
All right, cool. My number, we're gonna go with a song that's off of 1970s. It Ain't Easy. I'm gonna go with Mama Told Me Not to Come, which is a Randy Newman song. Phenomenal. And if anybody knows anything about this song, this was originally written for Eric Burden's first solo album in '66. But once Three Dog Night started to cover Randy Newman actually started to take off on his own. So this is a great Corey Wells vocal. I mean, it's kind of humorous to some degree. The Wurlitzer organ on this thing. Todd was talking about Jimmy's organ playing, but he plays like a Wurlitzer too. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if anybody knows that keyboard sound from like Supertramp. My God, man.
Oh, yeah. I knew you were
always a
going with
Wurlitzer. Always a Wurlitzer. So it's the same song here, and they use that a lot on these.
Yeah, you know, Jimmy might have actually. I call him a Hammond player. He may have actually played Wurlitzer more or as much as he played.
But
Hammond.
He does play a lot of Hammond.
Yeah,
it's brilliant, and it's always very predominant. It always is like the star of the. When I listen to it, I'm always picking out those Hammond or those Wurlitzer parts because I just think they're so great. Michael Alsop's playing guitar. It is the backup band. Evidently, Donna Summers singing background on here, even though she's uncredited. This hit number 11 in 1970. I think it's a classic, and I'm sure everybody else. I'm picking a lot of classics except for that Track by Traffic. So anyway, that would be my number 7. I'm going to send it over to Eric. Eric, you're up.
It's okay, Grant. I'm picking the classics too, but
Marlon's here, everybody, so brace yourselves. Wurlitzer over Hammond. I
That's a tough one. They've both got their strengths.
Yeah.
It's just different. It just gives a different texture. George Martin likes Eli's Coming. Yeah, that's good. I like Laura Nero. Saw Laura Nero. Did I ever tell you that story? Back in 1990, she was playing in, doing a tour. And she was playing not in German Village, but like in an area, little north of German Village in Columbus. And it was just in a small bar. And she was just in there singing and playing keyboards. It was unbelievable. And she was playing all these songs. Eli's Coming, but she was just accompanying herself. Man, incredible. So highly, highly recommend anything from Laura Nero. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry.
I'm going to go with my number 6. I'm going to go from 1973 off their album Cyan. Shambhala.
Oh, yeah.
Written by Daniel Moore, who co-wrote the song My Maria for B.W. Stevenson and later covered by Brooks and Dunn, who he also co-wrote for. He also wrote for Joe Cocker and Kenny Rogers. Number 31 on the Billboard, 54 on Canada. Lead vocals by Corey Wells here. It's a song about joy and inspiration that somehow, guys, I don't know why, this has always reminded me of Jay Ferguson's song, Thunder Island. It's got that, I don't know, maybe it's got that yacht rot thing going on here, but it's just a solid slice of a song. Man, that's great sing-along driving song. Put the windows down and yeah, love Shambhala. So that's my number 6. Number 5, Grant just mentioned, Mama Told Me Not to Come.
Okay.
I agree with everything you said. I was going to mention about Eric Burden. I love the organ in this. Huge hit for the band, sung by Corey Wells. Great pop hook, radio-friendly tune. Soulful with a little bit of almost like a psychedelic little splash in there too. Just as the perfect example of why these guys were just so popular in that window of time. Just, love this song. Number 5. Again, could be higher.
All right, cool. Todd, you're up.
Okay, well, my number 6 is from Seven Separate Fools again. And this is probably, I guess most people would think of this as an obscure song, but I picked for number 6, Going in Circles from Seven Separate Fools. And it's an interesting song in that it is actually just a chorus that just repeats over and over until you get to the end, basically. And I think that's pretty cool. Really exceptional bass playing by Joe Shermy, and it was it's sung by Danny and Chuck. They kind of trade off in it. And it's one of my favorite songs. It's really a beautiful tune. And I like the fact that it's structured kind of unusually. And then my number 5 is from the album Naturally. And it's probably going to be controversial that this is this low in the list. But I picked Liar as my number 5. Man, what an interesting creative arrangement on this song. There's just a whole bunch of weird sounds going on. The Hammond or the Wurlitzer, whichever it is, I'm pretty sure it's a Hammond on that one, is really like spooky and eerie sounding, and just a stunning song. I don't think I could find a person that doesn't like the song Liar by Three Dog Night. It's so great, and sung by Danny, and it got pushed lower by a couple of other songs, but one of the best.
Funny, Todd. I hear that song. You know who else I could hear do that song? Queen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just
Yeah.
that liar.
And
You know,
the-
just that. Yeah.
I
The
keep thinking
effects.
Queen too.
The effects
Yes.
on the vocals and
Yes.
the percussion are very early Queen. Absolutely.
It's very heavy for Three Dog Night.
Yeah.
When you listen to it, you have to almost go, wait, what? You know, can't believe it. Here, Ken says, yeah, Todd, the song structure is very unique for its time. Yeah.
Yeah. For going in circles. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Marlon. All right, cool. So that was your, okay. So I'm
Yep.
up now. Okay.
Yep.
Number 6. Okay. I'm going to go with a song that came off of 1971's Harmony. I'm going to go with, this is a big hit, an old-fashioned love song, wonderfully performed by Chuck Negron. God, what a great voice. The first single from that was released off this record peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. And again, like I said, I keep picking these Paul Williams songs. Yes, it's another Paul Williams song. And I just love that kind of eerie sound to the track at points and certain types of the track. And then it kind of just flips. And then the sound of that Wurlitzer. I love that keyboard sound. I never get tired of it. Great production. Phenomenal track. Could be higher on another day. All right. Here we go again. My number 5. Gonna pick another Paul Williams song. I can't believe it just so happened. It's off of 1970s It Ain't Easy. I'm gonna go with Out of the Country. This got to number 15 on the US Billboard Hot 100. I don't know about you guys, or anybody out there, but it kind of reminds me of America. The way it starts out, it's got that great organ. It's got a spectacular chorus. And it's one of those early environmental songs, you know, finding solace outside the city, you know, breathing the air before it's gone, you know. Paul Williams, just absolutely excellent. And the way they deliver this song, again, I won't get tired of it. I think it's brilliant. Great stuff. So that's my number 5. All right, Eric, up to you.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off your 6 pick. My number 4 is going to be Old Fashioned Love Song.
Okay.
Again, written by Paul Williams. I agree with you. This song was actually originally written for the Carpenters, but they kind of didn't want to do it. So Three Dog Night took it and went to number 4 on the Billboard, number 2 in Canada. And honestly, when you listen to this song, I can hear Karen sing this one.
Mm-hmm.
But this song is just FM radio gold. And I agree with what you said on that song, Grant. My number 3, Celebrate, off of the Suitable for Framing album, 1969, written by Gary Bonner, who wrote Happy Together by the Turtles, and Alan Gordon, who also wrote for Gary Lewis and the Playboys and the Turtles. And this features, you mentioned it, I had written down the horn section by Chicago, Danny Hutton on the first verse, Chuck on the second, and then Corey comes in for the third. Just a fantastic buildup to that sing-along chorus. It's Celebrate by Three Dog Night. How can you not like it? So that's my number 3.
Yeah. All right, Todd, you're up.
Okay, so starting with number 4 is I've got 3 songs in a row. My 4, my 3, and my 2 are what I've been calling while I've been trying to pick these songs the killer chorus songs. There are so many Three Dog Night songs that have just absolutely stunning choruses, and the first one of those that I'm going to talk about is my number 4, and it's a song that is not very well known. It's from the album Harmony from 1971, and it's called My Impersonal Life. And it was written by a guy named Terry Furlong, and it is one of those songs sung by Danny. I think it is probably the most underrated, in my opinion, the most underrated Three Dog Night song. And it was one of those things where I listened to Three Dog Night a lot when I was much younger, and kind of took a pretty long break from them. And I heard this song again in the 2000s, and I probably hadn't heard it in 2 decades. And when I heard it, it all just came rushing back. I heard that chorus, and I just thought, oh my God, this is such a good song. And so that has always been one of my favorites, My Personal Life, from the Harmony album. It's the second song on that album. And then my number 3, again, it's been mentioned a couple of times, with a killer chorus from It Ain't Easy, Out in the Country. And just, man, the melody of that song and the organ playing. And I believe I was looking for some kind of documentation of who sings it, and it might be unison. I think it's just everybody.
Yeah.
But man, Out in the Country is so good, and it never gets old. I never get tired of this song. And if you like this song, there is an REM version of this song. In 2002, I think, when they did their single "Bad Day," came out on a CD single, and there were 3 tracks on it along with that. And a cover of "Out in the Country" is one of them, sung by Mike Mills. And that is worth looking for. You can stream it. It's part of that rarities collection that REM put out about 10 years ago that Warner put out. But yeah, Out in the Country, my number 3.
Is it that blue kind of has that blue cover, that REM one you're talking about?
Yeah, there's 2 of them. They're let me see. Let me open my the one that it's on is called Complete Rarities 1988 to 2011.
Okay. All right.
And it's like a collage of all their singles. That's what the cover looks like. But yeah, that's worth checking out.
Excellent. All right, cool. So we are now at number 5. Is that where we're at? No, I just did number 5. Number 4. We're just moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. What's DC? I have about 37 Three Dog Night songs.
Me too, DC.
Well, we could have did a top
least.
20, but it'd take forever. And it's just hard to whittle it down to 10. All right, my number 4, I am going to go with Easy to Be Hard. This was a single. Came out in 1969 for Suitable for Framing. There's the album cover. Here we go. Chuck Negron. Here he is, another great vocal part. This reached number 4 on the Billboard chart. And again, that Wurlitzer is always, I just always notice it. It's wonderful. Very emotional. This is top-notch songwriting. And Chuck nails it. The harmonies on here are to die for. Wonderful song. What can I say? It's my number 4, for goodness sakes. Number 3, we've mentioned this before, Liar, which was, written by Russ Ballard from Argent. It came out after Joy to the World. I think Liar got to what? Number 7, I think, in the Billboard chart. But yeah, it's rockier. It's intense. It is absolutely stunning. It is heavy. And you, like I said, I think I played it in one of those listening parties the other couple weeks ago. I love it. So anyway, great track, super song, love it. So that's my number 3. All right, 2 more. Eric, you're up.
So my last 2 here. So number 2, boy, Liar was such a. It's an honorable mention. I really wanted. But who mentioned 37? Well, my number 2, going to the album Naturally, Joy to the World.
Okay.
Written by Hoyt Axton, who wrote the No No song for Ringo Starr. Never Been to Spain. Wrote that song for Three Dog Night. This one number 1 on Billboard, number 1 in Canada. Sung by Chuck Negron, and features one of the most popular lyrics to start a song ever. Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
I keep thinking of first grade when I hear that.
Yes. It's a very gospel type song, uplifting, catchy. Everything you want in a classic pop rock song is in Joy to the World. It's still played on the radio today. It will continue to be played on the radio long after we're gone. It's a timeless song that just never going to get old. My number 1. You guys have mentioned it.
Okay.
Out in the Country.
All right.
Paul Williams. Roger Nichols was the other one who co-wrote. We've helped co-write We've Only Just Begun by the Carpenters. The guitar lick in the beginning of this song by Michael Alsop is just absolutely heavenly to me. That dun, 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 kills me every time I hear it. Really, his guitar playing through that whole song is fantastic. And I was starting to giggle, Grant, because I've got America written down.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yes. It's
I hear.
A very America type song. It's just one of those tunes that just takes you to a different place. The great harmony vocals by all three singers. Todd mentioned that. Beautiful song. Really, for me, flies under the radar, even though it's a popular one by them compared to Joy to the World and Celebrate and all them. This was an easy pick for me. Out in the country, my number one.
America would be a good show to do too.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be good. Such a great catalog.
Oh, yeah.
Who's talking America? Hell, who's talking Three Dog Night?
We are.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good number one. I get it. I totally agree. Any of these could be number ones.
I like Chris Flood's comment there.
What? Wait a minute. Chris. Oh, if you all pick one as your number one, I give up. Yeah, I didn't pick Joy to the World because, it's kind of overplayed. I played it like on a listening party, but it's still great. But they played it so much when I was in elementary school. It's burned into my subconscious. Don't leave me out if you do America. I guess DC wants to do America. All right. Well, DC, I wouldn't leave you out if we're going to do America. All right, Todd, you are up. What's your next two?
Okay, so my number two, another song with a killer chorus. I thought that this is an obscure song, but I thought that maybe one of you guys might have picked it, or it would have come up in the comments. But there's a song on the Naturally album from 1970 that's called Heavy Church. And Heavy Church is the coolest song. And that chorus of that song it almost surprises you because it doesn't seem like it belongs in that song. It's so catchy and so beautiful. But great song. It's got a fantastic guitar solo by Michael Alsop, one of his best guitar solos, and I absolutely love that song. It was lower in my rankings, and I moved it up. But my number one is one of my favorite songs of all time. I think it's one of the most beautiful and one of the saddest songs I've ever heard. From Coming Down Your Way. The song Till the World Ends, written by Dave Loggins. Wow. And such an amazing, their last single, by the way, their last charting single, it reached number 32 on the Hot 100. And then that was kind of it for them. But that album, Coming Down Your Way, when you look at it and when you read the credits, it's got really, really long credits because they had a bunch of session players on it. There are some songs on this album where the main Three Dog Night guys might not be playing on every song. And so when you look at it and you think, oh, this is one of their weaker albums, it's one of the later ones, but it really isn't. I mean, song-wise, it's really, really good. But Till the World Ends, I just think is an absolutely gorgeous song. And it's got the ARP string ensemble in it, which is one of my favorite instruments. If people don't know what that sounds like, think Styx Babe. It's the Styx Babe string sound. And it's all over this song.
Yeah.
Isn't it on Grand Illusion too?
Yeah.
Wasn't he using the ARP? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and kind of the combination of having Jimmy Greenspoon, already a fabulous keyboardist, and then adding Skip Conte to it, playing all of the ARP synths and the Mellotron and the Chamberlain, it's really they really became for keyboard enthusiasts, the album Coming Down Your Way is really great. But there's a video that I saw a couple of days ago, and I've seen it before on YouTube, but there's a live version of Till the World Ends from a TV show called Soundstage. It's from 1975. And in it, you mostly just see Chuck. But there's this one part where they're zoomed in on him, and behind Chuck you can see Skip Conte, and he's playing either the Mellotron or the Chamberlain. I'm not quite sure. And it sort of pans by him, and he's wearing a cape like Rick Wakeman and like big wings like Peter Gabriel. And I was like, that is so cool. But definitely my number one is Till the World Ends. I knew it was going to be.
Excellent. Yeah, does anybody here on the panel have that Three Dog Night comp, the Dunhill Singles Collection? Anybody here have it? I think it came out on, didn't Cherry Red produce that? I think they're all the mono singles. I'm not sure. I do.
Yeah, no, I don't have that. I have a really good comp that was actually purchased from it's like I don't remember where I got it, but it's like a made for TV compilation. It's very similar to that one that Grant's holding up, but it's just called Three Dog Night. And
this is good.
The Dunghill single one that doesn't have, it's just like their logo in the middle. I think it's like gold and brown, black background.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look for that now, though.
Yeah, but Andrew Sandoval is part of this. This is basically, it didn't come out on Rhino. It came out on MCA, but it's everybody behind Rhino put this together. So if you're looking for a comp, it's in the Fat Boy 2 CD set. This is
I've seen that one.
A great comp. You don't see it that often. It's out there, but I highly recommend it because it does sound good. I mean, it's the people from Rhino putting it together. So what are you going to do? Rick's got a lot of this stuff. He's got the Dunhill too. Dunhill dumped all their single master tapes, and that comp is from International Master Tapes. So they're probably...
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that Dunhill, like in the 70s. Is that what it was, Record Hound? Like in the 70s, they were trying to clear out space or whatever. And they threw all the mono Three Dog Night masters in the trash, all the single masters in the trash.
I wonder if their slogan should have been, if it's on ABC Dunhill Records, throw it away instead of believe it.
But at least this, I'm assuming, because there's some mono mixes on here. This came out in 93. They must have, the mono mixes here sound great. They're probably from the European tapes, I guess, but the mono on here sounds great. I would highly recommend this if you want it on CD. Doc has the same one I have. Wouldn't that be the best? I think it is. If you're going to get anything, I'd get those. All right. So was that your two?
That was my two.
Okay, sorry. Hard for me to keep track. If you've noticed, I can't keep track. All right, my number one, I'm going to go with, this is Stephen SCHNEE's favorite, Shambhala, which came out on Cyan, and that was, 1973? Yes. Great track. One of their last great singles, I think. It's kind of mystical. It's just reached number 3 on the Pops charts. Everybody has mentioned it. I know Eric mentioned it. Did you choose Shambhala at all? You didn't, did you, Todd?
No, Eric did.
Eric did. But there is an interesting little bit of tidbit. It was originally cut as a single, and then they added it. It finally came out on Cyan, but it was originally just a single. So, and I don't know really what year this was recorded in, but it did make it. It's very gospel-y. I think it's a great track. All right, my number one. This is a Harry Nilsson song. Very deep, very haunting. I thought maybe someone else would have chosen this, but I think it's a perfect interpretation of Harry Nilsson. As you know, Harry Nilsson's written some great stuff for people. Various Monkeys tracks where Davey's singing on, great stuff. Lead vocals on here is Chuck Negron. This came from 1968. What I'm going to choose is my number one. I'm going to go with One. I think it's absolutely perfect. I think it's perfection. Chuck's vocals, his delivery. Come on. I think it's a beautiful song. And that's my number one. I didn't do Joy to the World or anything just because.
I had one and I cut it.
Oh, you had one, you cut it.
Yeah, that was my number 8. Yeah.
Comes in
Okay.
12th. I cut Eli's Coming. That's my number 11.
Yeah, I didn't pick any of the Laura Nero stuff.
And I considered picking Lady Samantha, the Elton John song.
Because, like I mentioned, Laura Nero, when I listen to her, I would much rather hear her versions of those songs than people interpreting her stuff. Only Laura Nero can really do it justice as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, they did a fine job with Three Dog Night.
Eli's Coming is a good
Fifth Dimension,
rock
but
standard, I think, depending, no matter who does it. But yeah.
But Laura Nero blew it out of the
Yeah.
park as far as I'm concerned. Her version, she was brilliant. All right, so there you go. There's our top 10. A little bit of fun exercise, ladies and gentlemen. What time is it? 7:52. That was good. Fight Me as a vocalist. Corey hits it hard. Okay, Corey's
He does.
All these people in this band can sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went into this task thinking that Danny was my least favorite of all the singers, and I came out of it thinking that maybe he's my most favorite. So I can't pick a favorite. When I was a kid, I liked Corey the best, but.
So remind me, Todd, I know that there's a lot of drug issues within this band. And didn't they fire Danny Hutton?
Yeah, he's the one that really he really kind of more than Chuck, I think. But
at that time.
You correct
Yeah,
me there.
Chuck's problems came later.
Yeah.
Danny's problems came during.
But they fired him because he was doing a lot of coke and he was into some bad stuff. And I guess he just got out of control and they canned him.
Yeah, when they made American Pastime in 1976, Danny basically, the one song that he sings on was already recorded and he basically wasn't there.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if you don't have him in the band, even though they disbanded after that record, they did regroup. No one picked anything off of it. Remind me, what's the name of that album? It came out on
Jungle.
Passport. It's a Jungle.
It's a Jungle. Yeah.
Yep.
Todd, have you heard that one? Do you have any thoughts on that record?
I don't. It's not terribly memorable. It's not bad, but it came out on Certain Death Records. I mean, Passport Records, and so it was never going to go anywhere. So
kind of like the Todd Rundgren thing.
Yeah.
They put those records out on Passport, and then they went bankrupt, and that was it.
Yeah. Ironic. Danny's the last one left. Yeah. Danny and Michael Alsop.
Yeah.
And prior
to says Hutton was replaceable. I don't know about that.
Well, they did replace him in 1976 with Jay Gruska, but the band just fell apart. But yeah, that when they were touring about 10 years ago, and Corey Wells was still alive, may he rest in peace, and Jimmy Greenspoon was still alive, you would have got Danny and Corey and Jimmy and Michael Alsop, and that would have been worth seeing. And then when Corey and Jimmy passed away, I just kind of decided that that's probably it. But they're still out there.
Yeah, still doing it. Well, thank God. That's great. Have you guys talked about Chuck's members splitting? No, DC, we haven't talked about that. Why would that come up? Though. Thanks for bringing it up. Don't understand, coke fiends. You don't want to sleep. Chuck is still alive. He is.
Chuck is still alive.
Doesn't he still tour though? He doesn't tour with Danny or anything, but
no,
I don't think he still plays.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him recently that was from like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and he had like bleached blonde hair and looked a lot younger than 76. And I think he's 80. I think he's 82 now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marlon, for the support. I appreciate it. What? Someone explain the members. We're not going to explain it. He had an issue. Good Lord, I was more horrified reading that than any Stephen King novel.
That's actually his next movie. I'm kidding.
Still alive with a split member. Well, how long ago was I don't know. DC, how long ago was that?
I have to admit, I don't know anything about this because I didn't read Chuck's book. So,
yeah. Well, it sounds like Chuck's book would be quite a book to read.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right. That's right. This is a family show. We don't talk about members and splitting and all that. He might have. Maybe that's the reason Marlon's so angry. You see, not a member of. You guys are taking it all down the wrong road. All right. Well, we did our ranking. I hope you had some fun. I'm glad to hear everybody here in the chat weighing in. Oh. Paul Simon, Chuck's last show was in Illinois in 2020.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was just about to say that. I think it's been a couple of years. Yeah.
Chris said he talked about it on the Howard Stern show. Okay. Oh, it was during their heyday. Sorry, we try and run a Christian channel here. We do. You guys are just obsessed with it.
I got to refresh my memory on that story.
I'm going to have to find that interview. All right, everybody. I want to thank you. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. There's no listening party on Sunday because, well, I'm going to go to see my daughter, and I don't want to have to worry about doing a show this weekend. And but next weekend, next Sunday, George Lemie will be here, and we will be doing a fusion show.
That sounds great.
We're going to pick like 10, well, it's fusion, probably 10 tracks a piece, and just see where, or maybe 5 songs a piece.
4 of them.
Get through 4 of them. So anyway, so tune in 2 weeks from Sunday. We will be back. I don't know if we'll be doing another Contrarians live show on Wednesday. I know Martin's been very busy, so I'm busy enough. So he said, well, let's just bag it for this week. So we bagged it. We might be back next week. There's plenty more coming up. So please stay tuned. Thank these gentlemen. I want to thank Eric and Todd for doing this. This was fun. And I want to thank you. Yeah. See you in 3 weeks. Well, that's fine. You and Marlon. All right. All right, everybody. We'll see. Have a good one.